Hello, listeners. This is Kat, and welcome back to Put Your Hands Up Podfics. This will be the continuation of Like, Comment, and Romance. This will be the last and final chapter, Chapter 9, the epilogue, entitled An Uraraka Epilogue, because she wasn't in the previous chapter, and that ain't right. Todoroki and Midoriya were a little annoying, and God, did Uraraka feel like a piece of shit thinking that, because they were so happy and so cute and so wonderful together. She'd never seen Todoroki so happy before, and it kind of made her want to cry because he deserved happiness so much. But she just couldn't take it. The mush, the PDA, Todoroki was corny. Who would have guessed that? And Midoriya liked that he was corny, and they were insufferable. After Todoroki's interview video, he and Midoriya went on a date, like, immediately. They didn't even go home first to change clothes. They just gallivanted out of the studio together in the exact same very recognizable clothes that they'd just gone live in, and people posted pictures of them on Twitter, holding hands and looking at each other like they both thought the other had hung the stars in the sky and feeding rabbits together and just being so stinking cute and adorable. Todoroki didn't come home until the next morning. She remembered staring at him with wide eyes because, damn boy, it was the first date. Even Bakugo had thought they'd wait until date 2. Or, well, if she thought about it, maybe their first date was actually when she and Shinso had ditched them at the movies? If that was considered a date, then Bakugo was startlingly accurate on that front. "So, you had a good time, I take it," she said, as he walked into the apartment. And Todoroki smiled some kind of dopey half-smile she'd never seen on him before, looking mildly dazed, and nodded, then crossed the room and hugged her. "I did. I had a great time. You're a great friend, Ochako. I'm glad you decided to be my sister. Shinso's a great friend, too. I have great friends." She patted his back. "You sure do, buddy. I'm glad to see you so happy." He let her go, and when he leaned back, she could tell he was blushing. Never in her life had she expected to see an expression like that on Todoroki Shouto's face, especially not with a black eye and a cut on his temple. That he got from Bakugo because they beat each other up for some reason. He looked silly, like a delinquent in love. "I am happy. I'm really happy. I never knew." He put his hands over his face. "It's different. It's just... I'm sorry. I know I'm acting weird." "Well, yeah, you are acting a little distracted. I'm definitely, drawing some conclusions here about Deku-kun's skill sets." Todoroki parted his fingers so that he could look at her, wincing as they skimmed across his bruised skin. "I don't want to go into specifics. I like him too much for that." "Right, of course, it's private." "But also, his skill sets are incredible." "Oh, wow, okay." God, now she was blushing too. "And Ochako, his ass, seeing his bare ass, touching it, is like... I don't need to know. Or actually, maybe, no. This is a Momo conversation. She's more mature. I wouldn't be able to look at Deku-kun in the eye." She let her gaze flick down to Todoroki's torso, then back up to his face. "You're wearing his shirt?" Todoroki gripped the hem of his shirt, a dark blue tee that said dress shirt, across the front in white lettering, idly rubbing the material between his thumb and forefinger. "Yeah, I did what you said. At first, I was just going to pretend I couldn't find my shirt, but it was right there. And also, I don't want to lie to my boyfriend." He glanced away from the shirt and met her eye. "Did I mention he's my boyfriend?" She shook her head, feeling a little stunned. He was progressing so quickly. Was Bakugo right? Did she need to go dress shopping? How are they going to have a wedding when Midoriya was still scared of talking to pro heroes? Most of Todoroki's guests would fall into that category. "He is," Todoroki continued. "We are, that is, boyfriends. So I asked him if I could borrow a shirt, and he gave me this one, and he even let me leave my shirt behind. Do you think he'll wear it?" "He probably already is," she said, giving her honest opinion. Todoroki's dopey half-smile came back, and he put a hand over his mouth to try and hide it. It didn't really work, because she could still see it in his eyes. "I'm happy for you, Shouto," she said, smiling fondly at him. "Thanks," he said, smiling into his hand. "I'm really..." He trailed off, but it was fine. He didn't need to finish. Taking pity on him, she patted his shoulder. He needed time to compose himself. "You know what? How about you go brush your teeth, and maybe your hair? You have patrol in a bit, right?" Todoroki nodded, letting his hand fall away from his face. "Right. Yeah. Patrol," he said as he started walking backwards. "I need to..." He bumped into a lamp and quickly turned, righting it. "Sorry, I didn't see you." He stared at the lamp for a few seconds and then started laughing. She raised an eyebrow. Midoriya had to be the best goddamn lay in the world. He'd broken her roommate. She watched, bemused, as Todoroki made his way into the bathroom, tripping over a cat toy on the way and then stopping to pick up Soba and kiss his forehead before putting him back down. She and Soba watched him until he disappeared around the corner, and they heard the bathroom door click closed. After that first day, Todoroki returned to his normal self, or at least he didn't walk around like he was drunk anymore. But his little honeymoon phase with Midoriya was still going strong. At first it was cute. She wasn't used to seeing Todoroki being so affectionate, so it was sweet, watching him whenever Midoriya would come over and seeing him pepper the other with quick kisses or drag him onto his lap if they were sitting next to each other, or come up behind him and drape himself over his shoulders and bury his face into his neck. It was very, very cute. And she couldn't stand it anymore. Especially not after she'd already walked in on 3 separate makeout sessions. 3! They'd only been dating a month at that point. She was pretty sure some people went entire relationships without getting walked in on at all. And they'd already had it happen 3 times. Unless they miraculously learned to stop making out wherever they happened to be standing. She came home one day to find them on the balcony, both of them covered in potting soil and going hot and heavy while Todoroki sat against said bags of soil and Midoriya straddled him. Then, statistically, she was slated to walk in on a lot of makeout sessions, or more. She loved Todoroki, and Midoriya was an absolute peach, but she did not want to walk in on them doing more. So one day, while she was cooking and they were just a room away on the couch, while they were supposed to be watching some documentary about a dude in a moth quirk who may or may not live in a forest in America, but were instead cuddled up together doing some I love you more, no I love you more nonsense, because they recently said they loved each other for the first time and now they couldn't stop, she decided something needed to be done, for her sanity. "Hey guys," she said as she entered the room. Midoriya, for his part, did startle in surprise and try to jump out of Todoroki's lap, but Todoroki maintained a vice grip on him, keeping the poor boy in place. "Hey," Todoroki said, voice level and monotone, as if he didn't have a blushing hunk of a man sitting in his lap. A blushing hunk of a man who was wearing, Uraraka now realized, what was definitely one of Todoroki's shirts, and also his Shouto booty shorts. She sat down in an armchair. "So I've been thinking, Shouto, know how when Kyoka-chan and Yamawa-chan wanted to move in together, Yamawa-chan and I sort of swapped places?" He nodded. "Well, I haven't discussed this with Shinso-ni yet, but I kind of thought once you two decide you want to live together, maybe Deku-kun and I could do the same thing. There's no rush, of course, but I just figured I'd let you two know. I don't want you to feel awkward about kicking me out once the time comes. I'd be totally happy living with Ni-chan." 1 week later, she was living with Shinso. Todoroki got soba in the divorce, but she wasn't really that salty about it. He was clearly Todoroki's cat more than hers, and he and Midoriya were in the middle of building some catio something or other for him out on their balcony, and they were staying in their apartment while she went to Shinso's, so it made sense that he got soba. Plus, Shinso had 2 cats, which was more than 1, so technically, she'd won. She was sad to leave him, though. Midoriya was even sadder to leave Banjo and Kazooie, judging from the way he hugged them both and cried after picking up the final box of his things. Turns out, Shinso hadn't been lying about Midoriya's crying capabilities. Midoriya had told her he was quirkless, but she wasn't so sure. No normal person could cry that much. It was like watching Sailor Moon bawl. Maybe not that bad, but close, and Sailor Moon was a cartoon character, so getting close should have been impossible. There was really nothing to cry about, anyway. Midoriya visited plenty, so he still got to see the cats, and she got to see Soba whenever she visited them. She'd been a little worried at first that Todoroki and Midoriya were moving too fast, and she was making things worse by moving out. On the other hand, if they broke up, swapping places back would be a cinch. She and Todoroki were pro-heroes, so their landlords were pretty generous with them. On the other hand, she'd feel awful and guilty if they did. Now, though, she wasn't too worried. She'd been living with Shinso for almost 5 months, and, far as she could tell, Todoroki and Midoriya were doing just fine. She didn't see them as often now, of course, but when she did, they were still looking at each other like they'd hung the stars. And Todoroki was still gawking at Midoriya's Shouto shorts. Shinso hadn't been lying when he said he wore them all the time. You'd think that Todoroki would get used to them eventually, but no. If anything, those shorts might have unlocked some kink he had, because he kept licensing new merchandise, and she was basically 100% positive his only motivation was getting to see Midoriya wearing it all. He wasn't even trying to hide it. He had Shouto boxer briefs coming out next month, for goodness sake. He had no shame. And sometimes they did still go a little far with the PDA. The media didn't even care about them anymore. Pictures of pro-hero Shouto macking on YouTuber Deku were a dime a dozen. That was more Todoroki's fault than Midoriya's, as he was always the one to start it, but the shorter man's embarrassed protests were less than half-hearted. And he certainly never did anything to stop him. He was at best an enabler. At worst, he was an accomplice. It was fine, though. They'd calm down eventually, maybe, and if they didn't, that was fine too. They were good together. Perfect, even. Midoriya seemed to understand Todoroki in a way that she or any of their friends had never been able to, and Shinso seemed to agree on Midoriya's side. They were both satisfied that their pseudo-little brothers were taking delicate care of each other. Living with Shinso was good. She missed Todoroki, but then she'd missed Jiro too. She'd missed the dorms after graduation. Shinso wasn't terribly different from Todoroki, though. His schedule was different. He patrolled at night a lot, so he slept a lot during the day. Or, well, maybe not a lot, but he slept during the day more than he did in the evening. He didn't seem to sleep a whole ton in general. In the morning, Midoriya would usually come by, and they'd go to the gym together. Every so often, he'd leave during the day to go to the studio. But he was quiet, like Todoroki. His humor wasn't as dry. Sometimes she wasn't even sure when Todoroki was joking, though that was becoming easier to tell because Midoriya always knew when he was joking, and he always laughed, which always made Todoroki look like he'd won the lottery, and they were the worst. But it was dry enough to feel familiar. They shared their chores well, and he was a decent cook, which were some nice roommate traits he shared with Todoroki. Best of all, though, and this was purely a Shinso trait, he was always giving her a heads up when a new Deku hero analysis video was going to drop. It was nice having an inside scoop. Or at least, he usually gave her a heads up, she thought, as her YouTube app surprised her with a new notification. Huh? Nichan? She called just as he had walked into the living room. How come you didn't tell me Kaminari-kun's video was dropping today? Shinso was dressed in a muscle tank, with a cartoon cat on the front, a gift from Midoriya, so he claimed, and gym shorts. I didn't tell you? Must have forgot, sorry, he said as he put on his shoes. I'm heading out. I'm gonna meet Zuko at the gym. She twisted around on the couch to face him. Meet him? But he always comes here to greet you. She was bummed. Todoroki said he was going to ask All Might if Midoriya could write a biography on him, and she wanted to ask Midoriya if he'd given his answer yet. Yeah, well... Shinso opened the door, and Midoriya was standing there, hand raised to knock and blinking in surprise. Here he is. Let's get going, he said as he grabbed Midoriya's arm and started pulling. Huh? Hito-nyan? Wait. Hi, Ochaku-chan. Hi, Deku-kun, how are... And then Shinso closed the door. She could still hear them for a few more seconds bickering, then their voices faded away. She twisted back around on the couch. That was weird, to say the least. Shinso had seemed so rushed. She shrugged to herself. If something was bothering him, he'd probably talk to Midoriya about it. She'd check with him when he got home, though, to make sure he was okay. In the meantime, Kaminari's analysis video wasn't going to watch itself. She made herself comfortable and clicked the notification. She always felt a little melancholy watching them alone, because that used to be her and Todoroki's thing, but they always texted each other about each video. It was different, but it was still their thing, so it was okay. The video began with a black screen and a clap of thunder. The camera came on to reveal Midoriya standing in a park in the middle of a storm. He was drenched, despite the water hose umbrella. Where did he even get that? Talk about vintage. He was clutching. This was a bad idea, he yelled. What? I said this was a bad idea. A flash of lightning streaked through the sky. Wow, so cool, Midoriya said, bouncing lightly in place. I told you this was a good idea. A crack of thunder shook the area, making Midoriya jump. Do you think it's too loud to film? What? Midoriya yelled. I said, do you think it's too loud to start? Start? Okay. Hello, this is Deku, here for another episode. He paused to take a breath. Of Deku's hero analysis. Wait. Today we're going to be analyzing the stun gun hero, Charge Bolt. I said wait. What? The wind blew, and his umbrella popped inside out. Midoriya tittered sideways in surprise, shaking the umbrella as if doing so would help. Wait. I already ate. You literally saw me. I said. Lightning struck the tree behind Midoriya, and both boys screamed as it erupted into flames. The screen went to black. When the image returned, they were back in the studio. Midoriya had changed into his Charge Bolt costume, although he had a white towel draped over his shoulders. His hair was damp, and he had his hands cupped around a red mug decorated with flames and white snowflakes. Hello, he said brightly in English, as he beamed at the camera. Welcome to Deku's Hero Analysis. Today we'll be analyzing the stun gun hero Charge Bolt, but first, please excuse my appearance. Hito-nyan thought. We thought. Not me. We. He thought it'd be a good idea if we began this video in the rain since a storm was scheduled. We were hoping to see lightning, and we did. Nay, Hito-nyan, are we going to show the video? Probably. Unless the audio is that bad, or the rain messed up the image quality too much. I want to fit it in. Great. It was very cool. A tree caught on fire. But I guess that part isn't cool. I felt bad for the tree. He feels bad for the tree. Well, who wouldn't? But anyway, we called emergency services for the fire department. I've never had to before. It was a little scary. Yes, but they were very nice to you. They were. They scolded us for going out in the storm, but in a very caring way. By that I mean, not gently, but with concern. I sort of felt like I was getting scolded by my mom. But two of them were fans. We took a picture together, so I'm going to put that on my Insta later. he said, then took a sip from his mug. Ooh, sexy firefighters with a little Deku in the middle. Will Shouto-kun get jealous? I don't think so. He has no reason to, I mean. If he does, though, he can get a firefighter outfit and take pictures of me, too. Shinso laughed. Then everyone wins. Let's all cheer on Shouto-kun to get jealous so he'll get a sexy firefighter costume. We need to move on, though. This is a smooth segue. We're already talking about sexy costumes, so let's talk about Charge Bolt's. Huh? Is Charge Bolt's costume sexy? Midoriya asked, looking down at himself. He set down his mug, which was starting to change to blue at the top, where it was cooling, and then stood, twisting around to look at his backside. I mean, I suppose the pants are tight. Isn't it? I thought that was, just a common thought. Midoriya looked back at the camera, one eyebrow raised. Do you think it's sexy? Me? No, I just think it's cool. It's a cool design. Midoriya nodded, looking skeptical. Right. Well, I agree. Charge Bolt's design is super cool. This costume is coming to us from Profun. They're usually pretty reliable when it comes to details, and I'd say this costume is no exception. I was concerned when Shouto first told me Charge Bolt was choosing a company. I mean, I was very happy too, but with the Lightning Bolt designs, a cheaper company may have done a poor job. With thin, sharp details like this, I feel poorer quality companies would have either used those iron-on appliques or a cheap screen print, both of which tend to crack or fall off in the wash, or they would have sewn them on, but use very large bolts for easier, faster sewing. That, of course, would have made it look clunky. These details, though, Midoriya said, propping a foot up on the table, displaying the lightning bolt on his pant leg, look very crisp and nice. They're sized perfectly, and the stitching looks like it was done well. Same for the jacket. Everything looks very sharp. Profun is good for those small details, right? Did you perhaps recommend the brand to him? No, I didn't. I haven't. Shouto's been introducing me to some of his friends, but I'm really shy, so I've only met a few still, and Charge Bolt, he seems very cool. He seems like a fun, charismatic person, so the idea of meeting him is a little scary because I'm not any of those things. Nonsense. You're fun and charming. I'm sure Charge Bolt would think so, too. He seems very nice, doesn't he? Yes, I think so. Like I said, he's very charismatic, so... I think he seems genuine, though. Not charismatic like a shady businessman. No, definitely positive. A sort of charming... And he gets a bad rap for being dumb because of what happens when he works too hard fighting and short circuits, but he's definitely not, right? I mean, if nothing else, choosing the perfect brand for his costume without any help from Deku is evidence of that, right? Huh? Well, yes. I wanted to talk about that, and some of the surprising strategies we've seen from him throughout the years. He can be very clever. Right, I agree. During the attack in Akihabara against that woman who could control mosquitoes. Don't remind me of her. That was a nightmare to watch on the news. But, Hitonian, you're kind of jumping all over the place. Me? Me? Who else? I haven't even finished the costume review, and you're bringing up Akihabara. Oh, well, sorry. I guess I got excited. It was a cool fight. Midoriya raised an eyebrow. Well, yeah, we've discussed lots of cool fights before, though. Are you perhaps a big fan of Charge Bolt? No. I mean, I'm a fan, but just normal-sized. Midoriya nodded slowly. I see. Hey, you stop that. I'm just interested. We're going kind of fast, so let me just review for myself real quick. So far, we've covered that Charge Bolt is sexy. His costume, and I was speaking about what the general public thought. Do you think he's unsexy, then? I didn't say that. A lot of people say he has a very cute face. Do you agree? Why are you asking me? That's a you question. We aren't even at the Q&A segment yet. Now who's skipping? Well, wait. Do you mean he's not cute? I didn't say that. I'm saying it doesn't matter what I think. Nonsense. Everyone loves you, Hitonian. Our viewers want to know, I'm sure. Is Charge Bolt cute? Well, I mean, that's sort of common knowledge. Everyone thinks so, I mean. I see. Stop it. I'm not doing anything, but let's continue my recap. He's sexy and cute. Stop making that face. He's smart and strategic. I don't think I said he was smart. I said he wasn't dumb. He's charismatic, but genuine, nice, fun, and what did you say? Charming? You did. I didn't say anything. Stop smiling like that. Like what? Like that, you little gremlin. Ah, so you're saying the smile isn't cute, like Charge Bolt's? That's public opinion. I didn't say, look, move on. We're wasting time. How does this costume fit? I can always count on you for a smooth segue, Hitonian, but you're right. We'll circle back to this later. Circle back to what? The costume fits very well. Some of the accessories are a little flimsy, the glasses, for instance. feel extra delicate, but for the clothes they appear to be good quality and fit well according to the size chart. I might actually wear pieces of it out and about, separately. Everything fits so well. The pants are perhaps a little flashy for someone like me, but the shirt is super comfortable, and the jacket is very nice. It's lighter than it looks, so probably good for fall. That's perfect if you're considering this for Halloween, although the price might throw some people off for that. It's a mid-range price, and the wig costs extra, so some might find this a little much for Halloween. For the cosplay community, though, this is a steal, considering the quality. Midoriya slipped into his normal routine, but Uraraka, for the first time ever, found it a little difficult to pay attention. What was that? Had Shinso been flustered? That was not normal. She chewed idly on her thumbnail while Midoriya finished his review of the costume, started discussing Kaminari's quirk. Kaminari liked Shinso. Everyone knew Kaminari liked Shinso, except, did Shinso? She always assumed he knew, because Kaminari was not subtle, but then again, he also had a bit of a flirtatious personality. If Shinso was a little dumb, which he was, because everyone in their class was at least a little dumb, then it was totally possible that he didn't even realize Kaminari treated him differently, if Shinso liked Kaminari back. She bit down too hard and broke her nail. If Shinso liked Kaminari, then that meant the two of them had been mutually liking each other for years, and nothing was being done about it. They were clueless. On her screen, Midoriya was grinning at the camera in a way that sort of reminded her of, well, of her. That was a shit-eating, Aravity grin, if she'd ever seen one. Midoriya really was a peach. If Todoroki ever left him, she'd murder him. Wow, you admire his strength so much, Hito-Neon. I never said. As for me, I agree with you, however. I've very, very recently come to admire Chargebolt more for his defensive capabilities. Shinso paused. His defense? Like when? Oh, are you not going to give the example? I'm not saying a word. Fine. Well, a great example would be how he's defended me. You see, for years I've been under near constant assault from Hito-Neon. He bullies me frequently. And you know, I don't actually get to approve these videos before they air. Hito-Neon takes advantage of this and convinces producer-san to air segments that embarrass me. Okay, first off, I'm not bullying you. I'm making savvy business decisions. Ah, so unlike Chargebolt, you use your charisma for evil. Second, Hito-Neon continued, if we didn't show the parts that embarrass you, we wouldn't have enough footage left to make a show. Not true. And third, what does this have to do with Chargebolt's defensive capabilities? Because he can defend me now. You always bully me over Shouto. Well, now I can protect myself by bullying you over Chargebolt. Cannot. Can too. That's not even defense. If you're trying to bully me, that's offense. I think it's both. Chargebolt is both an offensive and defensive player, just like he used his offensive abilities to take care of the mosquito lady, and his defensive abilities to save those sea turtles during the Musutafu aquarium raid. Oh, I almost forgot about that. That was kind of dashing, wasn't it? He got hurt doing that because he couldn't use his quirk without risking injury to the turtles. Yes, very dashing. Just as dashing as it will be when you're bullying me about Shouto, and I remind you of how hot and bothered you got thinking about Chargebolt saving turtles, and you get flustered and leave me alone. That will be Chargebolt's most dashing rescue. I am not hot and bothered. Could have fooled me. You know, maybe I should ask Shouto if Chargebolt would like to come by and do an interview. You're too shy to do that. No, I have Chargebolt armor now, so I feel braver. That's a load. If you walked in here, you'd faint. Are you saying you don't want him on the show? Stop putting words in my mouth. You're insufferable today. I am. It feels nice for a change. Ugh, just move on. Review something. The guitar or the toaster. Midori made a noise. The toaster is very cool. It makes the toast look like his face. But, you're getting me off track. We start with a figure. This is what happens when you get flustered over a cute guy. When I do. Midori reached off camera and came back with a Chargebolt figure. Nay, Hito-Neon, do you miss having this in your apartment since I moved out? It's a lovely figure, he said as he turned it around in his hands. The tight pants are demonstrated very well here. Should I gift this to you? Just review it. Ooh, Hito-Neon is upset. He must be jealous that I'm talking about Chargebolt's sexy pants. Only Hito-Neon can talk about, ow, hey, ow, no throwing. Then move on. Uraraka watched enraptured for the rest of the video. Midoriya, for his part, did an excellent job balancing between discussing Kaminari's hero career with taunting Shinso. By the end, she felt Kaminari would probably be thrilled with his analysis regardless of how he felt about the teasing. Before she knew it, they were wrapping up the Q&A and the Omake video was playing beside the credits. In the video, a soaked Midoriya was sitting inside a fire truck wrapped up in a blanket. He was crying and apologizing while one firefighter scolded him, and the rest of the crew huddled around him, patting his hair and shoulders and trying to console him. Todoroki would probably get jealous. She'd have to help him pick out a sexy firefighter costume. The video ended and Uraraka exited out of the app. Shinso's odd behavior earlier made sense now. He wasn't just going to the gym with Midoriya. He was running away from her. She smiled to herself. He couldn't run forever. They lived together after all. Eventually, he'd have to come to terms with the fact that she was going to fix his love life for him. Until then, she could put up with the stubbornness on his end. She texted Todoroki, letting him know they needed to talk about the video once he watched it. Now that she thought about it, there was no way Midoriya didn't tell him that he discovered Shinso had a crush on Kaminari, and Todoroki didn't tell her, which he was definitely going to regret, the little sneak. After she texted him, she started thinking about the best way to approach the situation. She didn't get to think long before her phone started ringing. She quirked an eyebrow at the name on the screen before answering. Kirishima-kun, why are you calling me? Ugh, you're just like Kachan. I'm on patrol, he whined. She could hear the pout in his voice. Besides, there's nothing wrong with calling. Calling can be kind of anxiety-inducing, right? So swallowing that down and doing it anyway is super manly. Uh-huh. You're just saying that to defend Kachan. You shouldn't be calling during patrol anyway, though. I know, I'll be quick. This is the situation. Denki dude is freaking out. I've gotten like 20 texts in the last minute. Ooh, she almost forgot Kirishima and Kaminari were roommates. Oh yeah, Deku just posted the analysis of him. It was good. Yeah, I'm not getting the vibe he disliked it or anything, but he keeps going on about Hitonian. Did he say something romantic about him? Well, sort of. It kind of seemed like maybe he has a crush. Okay, that makes sense. Why? What's Kaminari-kun saying? Uraraka, I really mean it. He is freaking the fuck out. Listen, there's someone he's liked for a while now, like high school a while. Right, Shinso-ni. Shh. What? He's not home. Still, that's a secret. She snorted. Not a very good one. I mean, yeah, valid, but Denki doesn't know that. He thinks it's under lock and key. Oh my god, why were boys so dumb? Well, Nichan doesn't seem to know either, so Kaminari-kun is not the only dummy here. So, Shinso is one I wanted to talk about. From what I can gather, Denki's freaking because he likes, him. Shinso-ni? Shh, yes, but it's been years, He doesn't think it's going to go anywhere. She nodded. Right, Nichan's hard to read sometimes. Exactly. So I think he's conflicted because he isn't quite ready to move on from that crush, but he thinks he should because it's been so long and he kind of likes Hitonian. Whoa, back up. He doesn't know Hitonian. I know, that's what I told him. He doesn't even know what he looks like, but he says he loves his sense of humor and the way he talks is sexy and he's charming or whatever. My man is literally crushing on a voice. That's interesting. I guess. I don't know. What I do know is he's conflicted and freaking out, and, well, he has a delicate heart, And he's my buddy. Yeah, sure, I want the best for him, too. Great. So that's kind of why I called you. I'm assuming you know who Hitonian is, right? You and Toto are so close. Well, yeah, I might. Well, is he a good guy? I don't know what to do here. Do I encourage him to give up on Shinso and beg Todoroki to introduce him to Hitonian? Do I tell him dating a guy whose name or face he doesn't even know is a bad idea? Should he crank up the flirting with Shinso? He's desperate for advice, and I want to help, but I'm not good with this stuff. I'm single too, after all. I don't know what I'm doing. She smiled. This was an interesting development, so Kaminari liked Shinso and Hitonian. And Shinso, as it turned out, seemed to also like Kaminari. A very interesting development indeed. Kirishima-kun, she asked, as she sank back into the couch. She grinned. Have you and Kaminari-kun ever considered getting a cat? Huh? Where's this coming from? I'm getting somewhere, I promise. But have you? I mean, I have. Katsuki has one. I thought it might be nice if they could have playdates and be cat bros. And cats seem cool and stuff, and I don't have to worry about getting scratched, because, hello, rock skin. Never talked to Denki about it, though. Talk to him about it. If he seems interested, you two can come over and visit. Nichan has 2 cats, so spending some time with them might help you make a decision. Okay. Trust me, if you both come over, I'm pretty sure I can guarantee that Kaminari-kun will leave here with a solution to his little Hitonian versus Shinso-ni dilemma. Uh-huh. And how exactly? Let's just say Kaminari-kun and Hitonian have a friend in common. Well, yeah, Todoroki, I still don't... Trust me, Kiri-kun, I know what I'm doing. Well, okay, yeah, you usually do. I'll talk to him about cats once I get home and let you know how it goes. Perfect. Text me. Okay, sheesh, I will. Thank you for your help, I guess. You're very welcome. Kirishima made a skeptical humming sound. All right, well, talk to you later. Or write to you, whatever, semantics. Yeah, whatever. I'll be waiting. Bye. They hung up, and she let an easy grin blossom over her face. Wingwoman Uraraka still had some work to do. All right, listeners, this concludes the fic entitled Like, Comment, and Romance. I hope you all enjoyed it. This is one I find myself consistently rereading. It's such a good fluff fic. Let me know your thoughts and reactions, though, to the entirety of this fic. And as always, thank you all so much for listening.